One. All right, we are Zooming. This is the post-game style for most of the time here in this COVID age we're in, but we're getting some basketball in, thankfully and safely. I'm joined by the head basketball coach of the Landstown Eagles, won a state championship just a couple years ago in 2019 in Class 6. He is 346 and 143 overall in his tenure at the helm of the Virginia Beach School, and his team with a comeback win tonight, 59-49 over Princess, and with a flurry at the end, an 18-5 run. Now 3-0 on the season in advance of Friday night's showdown with city rival Green Run. Coach, congrats on the win. How's it feel to get another W, sweating it out in this weird age we are in, wearing masks and doing Zooming, I guess?
Yeah, man, every win is precious. Just having the opportunity to play this year is a blessing. Want to have fun with it. Obviously, you want to win, but being safe is the number one priority. Just the way that COVID is, you haven't had the same amount of time that you would normally have with your kids to get them ready and get them developed. But I'm really excited about this team that we have, because those guys, they give me everything they got, and they work hard for me, and they just, like, we have fun. We enjoy practice, and that's a real testament to those guys, man. They practice hard. We have fun. We compete, and that showed tonight in the fourth quarter, because our guys, we were still ready to compete in the fourth quarter, and we got it done.
Yeah, and we'll get to one of those guys that scrapped hard for you. And I brought this up to your stepson, Donald Hand Jr., a little while ago. There's so much going on in the area, nobody playing. Word is right around Christmas that Virginia Beach will be the first to pull the plug. They don't. They make the decision in the early part of January to say we're playing. And then you guys are one of the few teams, and there's even a team or two that hasn't even started yet in the Beach, but you're one of the teams that's on pause. How did you manage that situation, knowing, oh gosh, are we going to even get off the ground to start the season?
Yeah, so, we went on that 14-day pause. Obviously guys are not able to do anything during that time. So what we did do was we had Zoom calls with all the guys. We checked in every single day. What would normally be our practice time, we would go on Zoom. I would check on all the guys, make sure they were all right. That was number one priority. We'd start watching cut-ups of practice and of old games, just to say, okay, this is what we're going to be putting in. So I need you guys to watch this. I need you guys to watch this. And then, as we got closer to coming out of the pause, we started to look at game film from last year against other teams that we were going to have to play and prepare for. And so we started watching film, and we watched last year's film and the year before to show them this is what we are trying to do against that team. Obviously not having a lot of practice time, which we really haven't compared to some of the other teams. We're behind. And that's all right. And I told my kids tonight, I need to simplify some things so that we can execute better. And I think that's really what happened to us a lot of the time tonight. My guys are thinking way too much, and I'm calling something that they weren't ready to run, and in the heat of the moment, and it got us all out of whack. And that's on me as a bad. I did a bad job coaching.
Well, as a coach, and you've been one of the most successful, not just in the area, but the whole state, you don't alter the principles and the things, the fundamentals that you built the foundation of your program around. However, how do you adjust as a coach and some of the things you do mechanically speaking, motivation-wise speaking, with your guys in this age, and you're wearing a mask during the game? Has it been a difference for you from that standpoint, an adjustment in that regard?
Again, hats off to my kids. We wear the mask in practice. And so we're wearing masks in practice. We don't have to wear them in the game, but we wear them all through the warm-ups and stuff like that. My parents and my players have been so they've adapted so well, and they've been so open-minded to trying to implement the things that I've asked them to do with their kids, even in terms of outside the court, limiting their contact with other people. I can't say enough about our parents and our basketball parents, our administration, how supportive they've been. And also, my players, number one, like those guys, they're enjoying basketball right now. And I'm enjoying coaching them too.
Yeah, it's better than the alternative of sitting out in a lot of teams around. Just the 757 area code in the whole state. I think at last count about 78 not getting this opportunity to play. So, and everybody's very thankful for that chance. looking at the game tonight with Princess saying, they came into the week 3-0. They lost by 35 to Green Run on Monday, who you'll be playing coming up in a couple days. But you get out to a 9-point lead. Basketball tends to be a game of runs. But in that start, speak on your stepson there, Donald Hand Jr., the way he came out firing. He was in a groove, and he's been doing it all season long. Dropped 32, 35 in a game. He's on his way to some pretty record stuff. If we had a normal season in terms of scoring, it's condensed, so you can't chase maybe some of those records. However, pretty impressive nonetheless.
Well, I don't tell him to do one thing or the other. We've just been working with him in terms of reading what they give you. Read what they give you, and if it's there, you take it. And so that's what he did tonight. He came out and, they played a little drop coverage. They didn't come out and hedge on the ball screens. He got over the ball screens and he's got a wide open look, and I'm not going to tell him not to shoot the ball. And coming into tonight, he was shooting 50% from the 3-point line. So I'm not going to tell him not to shoot the ball. But he had to make some adjustments later on in the game. But when he gets off to a start like that, you can see how it energizes our team, how we play defense a little bit better, because those guys know he can erupt at any point in time and go for 15, 18 in a quarter, So, he's matured. He's been on a state title team, was a starter on a state title team, and now he's playing with a lot of young guys. So some games he's going to have to put us on his back early until everybody else can get in the groove.
The thing that's interesting, you've had a lot of great players at Landstown over the years. The list goes on and on, from the likes of Stanley Pringle and Percy Harvin and Dante Morales and Julian Norfleet and Reggie Williams and this guy and that guy and DJ Woodmore, Michael Christmas, Darius Bolstead here recently. Unlike some of the great players in the class of 2022, be it in the state or wherever, it doesn't seem like he gets sped up, or things that are mistakes are off effort with it. So it feels like, when the things that he does, they're corrected, but it doesn't get you on a bad swing for the game.
Well, that's the thing that we always are talking to him about. Mm-hmm. Play your pace and then change your pace. And when you do that, being 6'5" and legit 6'5", I know a lot of people have a question about if he is that tall, but he's legit 6'5". And when you can change your speed and play fast, play slow, and the defense has to play to your speed. You don't play to their speed. And when he does that, he's in control of his game. And there's he's got so many skills that, whether it's passing it, rebounding it, playing, and, his defense is so much better than it was before. He becomes an issue that you have to address. And we're trying to surround him with guys that complement him. And you were mentioning Cepha. Cepha played a heck of a basketball game tonight. Jackson came up big in the third quarter. Eli Rambert made some really big plays down the stretch, the drive and kick to Cepha down on the block. So those guys, after a while, they got into a groove. They start playing better. And because he only had 2 points in, I think, the third quarter. So The other guys were playing better. And he didn't have to shoulder it all in that third quarter.
Well, that third quarter might have been the most encouraging thing from this standpoint. You're down 3 at the half, so it probably triggers, all right, we're in for a dogfight here, because even if he does go off for another 20-plus point half, it's exhausting, and you don't know that it's going to necessarily dictate you pull away. But in that third quarter, at the end of the period, you get within one on a beautifully drawn-up inbounds play. You can take me through where Cepha scores it off the feed from, it might have been from DJ, I forget who it was, but he scores it down
from Xavier. Xavier Glass made a great pass to him.
Yeah, made a great pass to him. And Jackson Tellefson had a couple key buckets in that quarter despite getting into foul trouble there. So you had to feel like, all right, he didn't get a field goal in this quarter. We know he'll get one in the fourth quarter. And some of those guys' confidence is growing here. We know how to close some games based on what we, drilling our guys a little bit, or? Oh,
definitely. Once we got within one, I felt like we were in great shape at that point in time. I switched it up when we picked up full court after that. And they got a little shaky with that full court pressure. But Elijah had made plays. Jackson had made plays. Cepha had made plays. So now at this point, they got confidence. And then you still got him. You still got DJ, which I know he doesn't ever lose confidence. So he was determined not to let us lose anyway. And so whatever he had to do, my thing to him was, don't settle for the three ball. Get to the paint. Use your mid-range game. Get to the cup. get to the line, and he hit two dagger pull-up jumpers from mid-range. And then that just opens his driving up, and that was the ball game. They got rattled a little bit with the pressure.
They did, and it's neat to see a young man who was a little boy on the end of the bench watching some of your great playoff runs, and you wonder, is he going to be that fiery competitor? And he's got a little fiery side to him, which is neat to see in DJ. Let's go to Cepha for a moment here, Coach, because coming off the bench, 13 rebounds, 5 blocks, and this is a kid that's known for his football exploits. And, oh, by the way, football's starting up in a couple weeks, and there's been some other guys on the beach. You think of James Smith for PA on the other side tonight. You think of George Wilson, who you'll see Friday night for Green Run, who's going to Florida State to play his football. You have to really be, I guess, impressed with just the way he's dedicated himself coming off the bench, because some kids can be selfish and not be into it. He was into it tonight. I mean, he was really into it.
I told Cepha he's one of my favorite players. Cepha is a guy that has never complained. Literally, you can coach him as hard as you want. You're not going to hear a peep out of him. He's going to look at you and he's like, okay, I got you, coach. And Cepha can play basketball. He's a good basketball player. And he had 15 in our first game of the year. So he's a capable scorer there on the block. And one of the things I kept telling our guys, said we got to get him some touches at some point in time. But it wasn't just that we got him touches. He had those 5 blocks, 13 rebounds. He controlled the paint down the stretch. I think he might have had 2 or 3 blocks like in the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game. And so I know what we're getting when Cepha is in the basketball game. He is a football player. But just like most football players, basketball probably is your first love. But Cepha is a heck of a football player, and that's where he's going to go. He's going to use football to go to college. And tonight he was an all-star tonight. Like, we don't win without Cepha. It doesn't matter. Of course, DJ had 37. But if Cepha doesn't play the way he plays, we don't win.
Well, you probably got to be sitting there through stretches of the game or timeout saying we need someone that's going to either complement his scoring, DJ scoring A, or B, just put that hard hat, hustle, dive on the floor, because there was a stretch, not for the duration of the game, but third quarter, where I thought Pia was out scrapping you a bit, and he said, not now.
Yeah, no doubt. We did. We got outworked. Mm-hmm. We got outworked in that third quarter. There were loose balls, rebounds, and they were just faster to it. They wanted it more than we did. And that's one of my pet peeves about not getting outworked. Mm-hmm. If a better team beats us, they just beat us, but not because you outwork us. And we were getting outworked. And, I think our depth tonight was in our favor, because we went deeper into our bench, particularly in the fourth quarter, substituting some defensive guys in there to get after them, and they were on the court the whole night. And I think that is really kind of wore on them after a while, because they made some turnovers at the end of the game that, probably should not have made.
And then the stats bear it out. 13 to a goose egg in terms of bench points in your favor, and that doesn't include the intangibles, the hustle plays, the rebounds, the blocks, the things that Cepha and others on that second unit brought you. 2 more, and I appreciate the time here and let you roll. Thank you for doing this. And we'll get to the last one I have playoff-wise in a moment, but Green Run's coming up on Friday night. It's a rivalry game, you and them, of the last 2 state champs out of the beach. The beach has had other schools win the state championship. You think back to Princess and Salem back in the late 90s, early 2000s, but I don't think back-to-back years it's happened very often that you have this players on the court with the Kennedys, the Coopers, the Hands that have won state championship rings going at it. Take me a little bit through, in your eyes, what this game means, because you don't see them again in the playoffs. You're both in different divisions, but I'm sure it's one that you guys savor, knowing just how competitive it gets.
Well, what's funny is we normally play each other the first game or second game of the year. Right. And, that's just normally it's like a barometer game. Like, all right, this is what we need to work on in order to get better, or whatever. Now, neither one of us has played a whole lot of games.
For one seed in a way, isn't it, really? I mean, you're both kind of wanting to get a 1 seed secured if you can, right?
Yeah. I mean, the game means something because you want to try to be at home in the regionals, but they've developed a great program over there. Coach Harris, one of my really good coaching buddies. We talk X's and O's, but we just talk in general about a whole lot of things. And I've watched him develop that program from when he first started to now. I mean, it's night and day. And
your kids are teammates, aren't they? Your son Damien and his son Noah, aren't they? I think.
Yep. So my younger son and his son, they're on the same team right now. And then Jake and Eli and DJ, they all were on the same team when they were the same age at,
the Reapers,
at 9 and 10. They were all on the Reapers. So, a lot of these guys, even the guys tonight off PA, James and Josiah and Will, they all played on the same team with DJ as well.
Okay.
So, this game, it probably means a whole lot, particularly for them. It's just kind of like bragging rights or whatever. But it's a game to put us in a position to go forward in the playoffs. Again, it still will be a barometer for where we're at and what we need to work on. But, like you said, if this was a game that people could attend, it'd be sold out probably 2 hours before the game even started. But we're going to go in and we're going to try to prepare tomorrow and get ready. They're super athletic. Jake's, he's a great point guard. Eli's crazy athletic wing. Their other guard, he played with DJ at Landstown Middle. J-Mac, him and J-Mac, they started in the backcourt at Landstown Middle. So there's so much familiarity between the two teams. We kind of play the same, in terms of we like to pressure the ball and we like to get out and run. But, it's going to be a good game on Friday. We're going to go out there and we're going to go at it. And I think that's what it should be. The teams that are, possibly your best two teams in the beach, maybe two of the best in the area going at it on the last regular season game. I mean, that's what you want. That's what your kids want. So we're going to have fun with it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people look forward to it, and unfortunately I do miss, as I'm sure you do, having that fans there, because it'd be like some of the old battles we have in the Eastern region those days. I'd be knocking on the door to let coaches in for me to see Booker T. Norcom or Nansman Kings Fork or Hampton Bethel. That's what it would be if we had fans in the ordinary, and we'll get back to that hopefully, Lord willing, at one point. And you mentioned playoffs. Let me ask you about the structure of the playoffs, because I'm curious to get your thought on it as a veteran coach here. Just today we get news of two schools outside the Tidewater area in Liberty, Bealton, and Western Albemarle that are not going to be able to participate because of COVID and this whole situation where if it does happen to somebody, heaven forbid, that they have to sit out, and how it's structured. And no, it's not going to matter what we say on the Zoom to administrators and people in charge of the VHSL, but your opinion matters to me. If you had the decision to make and you had to make the playoff structure, what would you like to see? How would you like to see it be done for your region, the state, basketball in general? What would you like to see as a coach if you had your say in the matter?
It's tough right now. It's tough right now. Our region in particular is probably the hardest region to get things done, because our region stretches from Virginia Beach all the way to Franklin County. So everybody else pretty much, they have a local area that their regions reside in. I don't think anybody has a region like ours, from Virginia Beach to Franklin County. Nobody. So our region is tough to even set anything up. And I think they're doing the best job that they can with our region in terms of two teams down here will play each other, two teams up from the Richmond to Franklin County area will play each other, and then we'll match up. From that point on, the travel and stuff, I mean, you're not going to avoid travel. I mean, it's just going to be what it is.
Well, you made a 4.5-hour trip on a Wednesday night a few years ago, did you not, to Franklin County?
Yeah. A couple years ago, we went to Oscar Smith on Monday, played a game. That Wednesday night, we went to Franklin County and played in the middle of the week, came back. Then on Friday, we played at our place in the championship game against Western Branch. Yeah. So you're not going to avoid travel. And so, travel really isn't a reason to do one thing or another, because it's inevitable. It's inevitable. But I guess if you could do anything probably right now, once you got to the playoffs, if, particularly like the state tournament, if you could just keep everybody in that same spot for those 2 or 3 days and play the semifinals and then the finals, instead of having them come back and transport like that, I guess that would probably be the best thing you could do, almost like they were in a bubble for those semifinal and final games for the state. But, in terms of region, I mean, it's hard depending on how big your region is in travel. Some people are playing all in. Some people are playing top four. it's just different according to what 6A, 5A, 4A, whatever you are. But I think in terms of our region, I guess this is the best they really can do, which is top 2 from down here, top 2 from up there, and then you play the finals a day or 2 later. So I'm not right now. You have no real complaints from me. I'm just happy we're playing. But again, safety is the number one thing that I'm concerned about.
It absolutely is. And just talking in terms of basketball, because that is the main priority. But and the one thing that is different, only the region champ goes this year, not the region runner up. I do agree with you in this too, Coach, because once the regionals, it's different to say if you can't make it, in like the case of Western Albemarle and Liberty Bealton. We feel for those teams and others that we don't want to see happen, but could join that list. But once you get to the state tournament, you don't want to see, and I know last year we had the co-champ situation, which I'm okay with because you get to the final game. And at that point, we didn't have a lot of the data and the information about how to handle this COVID situation. But once you get in the state tournament, you don't want to see a team in the semifinal or final not get to play that game. You want to put them in somewhere where they get that opportunity to play that game at that point.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I don't think the teams would even care if they had to play back-to-back, to be honest. If the game was on, you had a game on Thursday and the championship was on Friday, guess what? It's not ideal, but for the safety of everybody, not having to go back home, practice, be around other people, then come back, all that, you kind of eliminate that with that if you play it back-to-back, semifinals and finals. You want an opportunity to play for the state championship. That's just what it is once you get to that point. But again, I know everybody that's doing their job, they're doing it to the best of their ability. And so right now, you just go with it and you enjoy the ride.
Yeah, none of us envy the jobs that the administrators and the VHSL have because it's not an easy one. There is no definitive right or wrong answer with this unknown that we're in here with COVID. Well, that's the head men's basketball coach at Landstown High School, Dwight Robinson. They hope to get themselves another championship trophy, but up first, they've got the Stallions coming up on Friday night green run at Landstown. Thank you so much. Best wishes to you and your guys this Friday and beyond, and stay safe, all right?
All right, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You bet.